Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another podcast. My guest today is Oliver Martin, who I have interviewed previously. The first talk, I think, was titled High Dose Psilohuasca in the Netherlands. And that is what Oliver does. He leads weekends where people join him and participate in these experiences with what he calls Psilohuasca, which is a combination of magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, and an inhibitor that is usually used with ayahuasca. It seems to increase the potency of psilocybin, which speaks to the fact that something else people have told me a lot is that basically psilocybin is DMT. It's the same thing, just like slightly different molecule. So anyway, that's what Oliver does. We kind of talk about what's changed for him since we last spoke, mainly being group size. It seems to be best to have a bit smaller groups, and especially with what another thing he uses, which is 5-MeO DMT, which is very popular these days. You hear about it a lot as being sort of the granddaddy of these psychedelic experiences, the one that will really blast you out of your body and have a sort of non-dual, everything is one and I am everything type of experience. So yeah, and that's just one thing that Oliver says, yeah, if I'm going to do these 5-MeO experiences with people, it seems better suited to a one-on-one thing than a group thing. And that's something he's sort of changed over time. Yeah, but we get into quite a bit. Yeah, Oliver is so knowledgeable about this stuff. It's really fun talking to him. And we get into all sorts of subjects. We even talk about virtual reality gaming and the future of VR technology near the end of this one. And we get into lots of cool stuff. So definitely check it out. This is me with Oliver Martin.
Just in case you haven't listened to the first podcast Carl and I have done, I'm doing mushroom retreats in the Netherlands, and with the very powerful combination of psilocybin and hammerline through Peganum hamala seeds. So it's called Psilohuasca. It's a combination of ayahuasca and psilocybin. And I've been doing this for 3.5 years with my friend Jeroen. He's the other half. It's a yin and yang thing. Many people say that after the sessions on the Sunday and the talk we have, that it's so amazing how we combine our energies. He's the calm, I am the pushy one, and it's it's a yin and yang thing. So we are with two people holding sessions in the past for 14, sometimes up to 15 or even 16 people. And it's now that for the last 3 months, I had the feeling that we have to really lower the amount of people. And the goal would be like maximum 10 people. The problem is, like, with all things in society, if you run things, the costs, you gotta share the costs with if you have it for 14 people, it's lower than with 12 or with 10, so we gotta find a way to make that all work. And why the idea comes to lower the amount of people is just like there are very powerful sacraments we use on these weekends. We have this 5-methoxy DMT, which is legal in the Netherlands, which is really an exception. Everywhere it's illegal, but there it's legal. And I also changed that we now don't use toads anymore. I've seen that my toads, they're my buddies, they live with me and they're really cool. And if someone wants to really go for toad secretion and it really needs to have the natural thing, then I offer a one-on-one sessions, so at my place, that's a 5 to 6 hour ride with introduction, and that's also something why we want to lower the amount of people. Is like, if you have less people, you can go more into the people's stuff. Everyone comes to such a weekend with a lot of stuff in their minds, and since the sacraments have this powerful abilities to loosen up stuff, and where in daily life, especially now when it's winter and it's cold and the lack of energy, and we just like, I work with that later and we put it aside,
Yeah.
and it gets stored in our subconsciousness, and it's just like, ooh, it looks like our cellars, there's all boxes and stuff, we should be working on, and all that stuff comes out, and although we really, I mean, we don't have a paper that people sign, it's not like people come to the weekend, I give up all my rights. There's no paper this. So we trust God with this, or we trust life with this thing. So we never had a paper. But we surely say, hey, if you have psychotic episodes in your life, if you have like psychotic people in your family, anything like this, like severe stuff, then please talk about it, give us the information. And if I would receive information about psychotic episodes, I would definitely not allow, this person to come to such a weekend. It's just too much stuff which you have to work on personally in a one-on-one approach, like in a psychotherapeutic setting. You have a one-on-one approach. You have always one person and the client. Yeah.
Are you saying that like if someone had any kind of history of that, you'd rather work with them one-on-one? Is that what you mean? Or you wouldn't work with them at all?
Yeah, and the thing is, I need to go into details. Then I would do a Skype session maybe, or let it explain by email. I just did a one-on-one session in Sweden. So I've been traveling with this stuff. Yeah, it's So and this the client I had there, she it was really strong stuff, and still I had the feeling that I do it. Yeah, so it's really about feelings. You get into tune with people, you listen to them, you get their stories, and you understand where they're coming from.
Right.
From the heart space, and then if you tune in with someone, and build up trust. And build up trust, that's the most important thing. That's part of the setting, and I believe that the setting in such a session is really the most important thing. I mean, Leary was always talking about set and setting, but honestly, when do we have the best mindset? Never. It's always like
that's true.
At least we're a bit afraid about doing such a session, and it's a hard thing to get you into like, oh yeah, I want a trip, and then you
for sure.
Yeah, and then you tell people, hey guys, you're taking this harmaline before, and the mushrooms, you would never guess how strong they are. I mean, many people are totally overwhelmed by the power of the Psilohuasca. It's really, I said it last time. If you combine harmaline with psilocybin, it is so highly intense, increased the activity of the psilocybin. And
but do you find that's a good thing? Like having that increased effect, is that something that like just leads to more understanding and more like that, or is it, or can it be just too much? Like, is it always good to have like that at some level?
Yeah. I mean, overall, we lowered the dosages. Yeah, through the past 3.5 years, the dosages are really lowered on the weekends. In one-on-one sessions, I can work with higher dosages.
I see.
Because I have a one-on-one thing. I have the full support, the full care, the full. It's really important, and that's what I'm saying. It's really important that I know who am I giving this, because when you run such a session and you do it every month, and you go into a kind of like you drive a car, yeah. Every time you drive a car, you're not in the car like first time, you do it out of the subconsciousness.
Yeah, I see.
So when you do such a retreat, it happens too that you just do things out of out of the general mode you're in. Yeah. So, and that is difficult, because every human being coming to such a weekend is a different person. And you should have all your senses totally open, and and that is difficult, because when you have so many people, I'm one person, Jeroen is one person, we're two, so it's and the time is also always on the lower side, so we're meeting at 5 p.m. and at 9 p.m. latest we start with the 5 Mio session. So it's really not easy to know whom we are giving this. So we lowered the 5 Mio dose intensely.
I see, just as like a safety precaution. So does that mean like you've had some experiences with people that, like, what are some examples of experiences? You don't have to like name anyone or anything, but just like,
no.
What kind of thing happens when maybe if you feel like you give someone too much or something, if they can't handle it, like what kind of behaviors do they exhibit?
So you can see sometimes, or I guess you can see it on many videos. The doctor uploads these videos on YouTube. Yeah, Dr. Reddick. And
Who?
that's
Sorry?
the Dr. Reddick. That's the famous Octavio Reddick. Yeah, that's the famous toad doctor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And because of this advertisement he does with his film and with his YouTubes and with this immense amount of people he serves, many people come to me too. So they know, okay, the doctor comes not often to Europe, but this guy here, he's available, and so they sent me messages. So also on YouTube, there's a guy called Leo Gura. Leo Gura, I don't know if you know him, and he talks a lot about 5 Mio. It feels like he's copying Martin Ball, and Martin Ball also. He talks a lot about 5, so 5 is really the new hype.
True. Yeah. There's been a lot of hype
Maybe
about
you have
5
heard
Mio.
it.
Yeah,
It's a big hype, but honestly, it's people don't know what they are into. Yeah. So it's very, very, very strong. And the thing is that if you're not prepared for it, it just blows you away. And what I don't see on any DMT session I did in the past, not on the weekends for sure, because it's not legal, but when I did DMT sessions, people would never go so crazy like they do on 5 Mio. With 5 Mio, the energy sometimes, blast into the body and they scream like crazy and kick around and roll around and want to stand up. And, it's like they're really going crazy. They're really going very
physical
crazy.
Like I was thinking, like I wasn't sure if it was just in their head they freak out and then afterward they're just kind of like scared. But usually during it, they're like flailing and doing stuff and screaming.
The interesting thing is, Carl, the mind is what does this. The essence, is gone. This person left his body, and the remains, meaning his ego or mind or his his I don't know, that does this stuff. If you talk to them afterwards, they can't remember what they did. They just they have no idea what they have done, So we record the sessions.
Oh, you do? You record them?
Yeah. Just for the guests, not officially, nothing. I would never do a YouTube video online.
Yeah.
The doctor. This is really crazy. This is too private, Not YouTube business. They're definitely not YouTube business. But it's not my way, not my point to judge them. But I'm just saying we record the sessions privately for the group, and if the group is okay, we give them to them. Otherwise we delete them.
So what do you? What kind of benefit do you see in people watching themselves under these?
No, not audio. Just not video, just audio.
Oh, just audio.
We have an MP3 recorder. It's the same I'm using to record this session here.
Gotcha. Okay. So just because they talk about certain things under the influence?
But it's enough. If it's enough, if you hear yourself screaming and talking stuff, gibberish or whatever, it's just really intense, and you never see this on DMT. It's just really for 5 Mio. it seems like the mind goes into a mental asylum mode, yeah, and the soul leaves the body. Meanwhile, yeah, so they have no memory of that. It's just they go totally crazy, and afterwards, like you say, you tell them, and whoa, I can't remember anything of that, and it's, I mean, it's, you get used to it and you know how to handle these situations. You got to definitely have people down if they walk the room and they can really hurt themselves. Yeah.
Do you think part of it is this people being experienced and practiced under these states too? Like, do you think it would help if people just didn't jump right into 5-MeO and they tried other things first? Do you think that's part of it, or is it just like physically in different people? Or
I mean, like I said, I lower the dosages. Still, if someone is really sensitive to it, 10 milligrams is enough to go him crazy. Yeah, it's unbelievable because 10 milligrams, that's really for a person used to that stuff. It's not much, So, but that can do a lot, yeah. And women are more sensitive even. So I mean, it should be on the weekends. The Friday should be just a gentle introduction into being together, into like a push for the meditation we do when we sit all in the round and be together and listen to that ambient sound, and it's all with candles and fireplace. It's like a really meditative, loving space, like on the campfire thing.
Right.
So yeah, so then the 5-MeO should just like like a little bit open up the atmosphere, and that's where we are heading to with this. But many people think, hey, wow, cool, I can have two things on one weekend, and they're really interested in the 5 and they sign up for the 5 only. And I start to tell people like, hey guys, if you want to go for a 5, come for a 1-on-1. This is not the place for a weekend. This is a mushroom weekend. Because, I've been connected to the mushrooms for over 20 years, for 22, 23 years. And the mushrooms are the thing, that's, I will be talking about before we started recording. The mushrooms have this gentle, loving approach to when you work on you. It's like they hug you in the arm, and then they guide you through the process. You have a feeling of a loving space around you, and many people say that they didn't have that on ayahuasca, and it's interesting that because psilocin is just not much different than ayahuasca, not just like different than DMT.
Yeah.
But people say this, and that is the intense benefit also of the mushrooms, and they work longer, and it's really a gentle approach.
That's interesting though, that you're like a proponent of the mushrooms like that, because like talking about people who are so into the 5-MeO, they very much point to that as like that's the big teacher, that's the big experience, because I mean they point to it because it gives it just very reliably gives people this experience of like, if you call like complete ego death and all that kind of stuff.
But honestly, Carl, not everyone is prepared for that, and many people are not prepared for that. And the thing is just it could be I have had very, very positive 5-MeO one-on-one sessions. Yeah. So if you work one-on-one, yeah, I do it like 5 hours, 6 hours. Yeah. I meet the people, we talk a lot. We let everything below come up. Yeah. So we have it on the surface, what people bring to this event, to this session. Yeah. So we can talk about all the things, on the surface. Then we do the session, and then we talk afterwards too, and then also have food for them prepared, and so it's a very round
sounds
experience.
Really good. Yeah, I mean, I like what you're saying. You're basically saying like that people need to be a little more cautious with this stuff, and that like there's a little bit of and I think that's really good. It's a good message that I think I honestly don't talk about enough these days on my podcast, because I get so caught up in talking about spirituality and all of these different substances that can help people, but they can also be pretty scary for people, and people should be
very scary, very
cautious
scary
with this stuff.
Yes, and since it's so powerful, and it just gives you very low amount of pictures and information. It just shoots you into that space of light, of oneness.
Right.
And the thing is, many people, when they shoot into that, they're at peace. Or like I said, they're kicking and screaming. That's the other thing. That's when they don't release, they're just, the ego kind of like makes a big fuss about it. And when they come back, they're scared. And many people are, when they enter back their body, they get really afraid because the mind realizes, shit, I lost control, the mind just sees, oh, what happened? Yeah. And since we have this mind thing, that if you have a problematic situation, the mind goes crazy. And the only thing to do is to do, like in an accident, you go like this, and then you see, shit, I have to help this person.
Oh yeah.
And then you go to the person and you help, and you just lose. You just go beyond all that thinking what can happen and what happened, blah, blah, blah stuff, and be with that person and take care for that person. And, and that is what is beyond thinking. But the mind, it just can't process this situation. So it gets crazy. And if you used to believe the stuff of your mind, like many people are, then this can be a very scary moment, and it can be overwhelming, and it maybe needs even time after the session, which is problematic because you gotta say goodbye to that person 2 or 3 hours later, so you can't talk afterwards. But on the weekends it's a bit difficult. You have 12 people, someone has a difficulty, and maybe even 2. So how do you process all this? Because I have all the also the work for cooking and for preparing and everything.
Right.
So it's on the weekends it's really a bit difficult, and I have to take more attention to who is signing up. Actually, I was thinking about making a paper, like asking people precisely, do you have episodes of this and that, and what kind of headspace you're coming from and all this, but maybe that scares people away if they are just intimately asked stuff before they sign up for
I don't think it's a terrible idea, and I know that other people who lead sort of retreats and things like that do that. Just for those same reasons, for different reasons, right? For whether it's their own protection if something happens, or if it's just the person's protection, not wanting to give something to someone they're not ready for. And I think that's like a legitimate concern to have, especially it sounds like you've had people who are just there for different reasons, maybe not in line with what you're trying to do.
Maybe that's life then, selecting the people who come and who don't come. Like if they're not okay with telling their story, then they maybe should better stay home, and do some other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I talked a lot about the weekends, what we do and all this stuff, and I was so overwhelmingly coming from above, and I talked to so I don't want to lecture people. I don't want to give people like, hey, you're doing it all wrong and I'm doing it better or so.
I see. Yeah.
It's just if you have done this combination of psilocybin and hammerline, it's you have a feeling of what it's all about. It's really, really powerful, and you would never believe it's. I don't know. I mean, you can't talk about it. You have to experience it, and I keep on telling that to people, and then they're overwhelmed. And luckily, we see that with lowering the dose, we can approach differently, but still we have high dosages. And you see, that's the real thing. If you do such a retreat, you got to learn a lot. Yeah, you from every session to the next, you learn a lot. I talk with my buddy Arun about it. So we learned so much over the past 3.5 years, and you got to change your approach and that. And that is.
I feel like maybe
it's very important.
We should talk about like we've kind of started out with like sort of some of the things that can go wrong or some of the challenges with this stuff, but maybe I just imagine if someone's listening to this and they have maybe, I mean, chances are low, but maybe someone's listening and has no idea about psychedelics and they're just kind of listening to this. I mean, maybe just talk about like why, I'm sure, why you actually still choose to do this with people despite all these challenges that are
Yeah.
potentially
Yeah.
there? Like, what are the benefits? What do you see in people that get a lot out of it and find some change
Yes.
and things?
Yeah. See, we just done the December weekend, yeah, last weekend, and it was really intense. And for the first time, two people left the session during
Left?
the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they left before the mushrooms because the one of the person felt that he can't take it,
Mm.
or it's not right, and it's okay. I talked to him meanwhile, and it's, you know, it's a difficult situation for them and for me, you know, losing
Yeah.
a child. It's kind of
Mm.
losing a child, yeah.
You want them
So
to experience it, like.
yeah, I had in the past people who were scared from the five, and then they come to me on Saturday morning, and I said, "Hey, come on, stay. You don't have to do anything." And in
Mm.
the end, they took some mushrooms, just a little bit
Oh, yeah.
amount, you know, and just little bit without Hamalin, and that the mushroom just put everything back into sense, you know.
Mm.
The mushroom is long active, and it's a gradually approach. I mean,
Yeah.
we humans, you know, we're running through life. Like everything has to be, you know, like one, you know what I mean, yeah. So we're always stressed.
Yeah.
So doing a session with a 10-minute ride, you know, what is that stress? You know, you just, yeah, you in out, yeah, and
Yeah.
so. Is that really the right approach if you want to work with stuff? Ooh, that is the overall question, you know. So mushrooms, 6-7 hours. Ooh, it's really different, yeah. But what you asked, yeah, we have these sharing rounds on Sunday, which are the most important thing of the weekend.
Okay. So at the very end of it, you
yes,
talk about what happened.
after the mushroom session on Sunday morning, after the food, you know, we all have food together, and I cook, yeah. On Saturday, I cook, pre-cook for Sunday, and we have all food together, and then we sit down, very, you know, with all time we have, no push, no rush, and everyone can share if they want, yeah, and 99% share. Yeah, there are always people like, oh, I don't want to share, but 99% share, and there's tears coming up, and there is like shaking, and there's intense stuff, and it's always very positive. It's many people get so much out of it, and all, you know, Jeroen and me were always really shaky from you know, from what the whole thing is doing to people, and there's so much gratitude, and there's so much like love, you know, towards each other and towards oneself. And if you know, these they are very, very special, the sharing rounds on Sunday, and this is the stuff I always go back to when I remember, okay, there were difficulties, but, you know, but look at this person, look at this person, look at this person. So 80% or so go very, very, very deep with the mushrooms. We always have people struggling and can't let go easily, but still, you know, if they can't let go in the beginning, at some point of the night, the mushroom wins. I always say the mushroom wins, is always stronger. And that's true. That's true. I don't know if you have had a session with yourself or with other people where they were struggling and not letting go and trying to fight the mushrooms. The mushroom always wins. They are active so long, and at some point you just give up, and then you lie there and 1 or 2 hours just say nothing and get the information you were supposed to get from the mushroom. Yeah. So everyone gets something out of it. And even the people who have difficulties, you know, the thing is, someone has to be the dad, you know, for all of these kids. Yeah. Someone has to be like, no, we are still sitting here, we're not shouting, guy. Yeah. And I say, I don't know, you know, I'm always that one. Yeah. Jeroen helps me with this, but usually I'm the one to have, you know, to play that role of being like, you know, getting people into place, you know. And I had people who said, ooh, I'm a patriarch, yeah, and they were talking bad behind my back, and we had all this stuff. But most of the people say, hey, I thank you so much that you give me this tight thing, and not let me go crazy on my stuff, but just
Yeah.
put me back into focus where my heart is, where my heart is.
Yeah.
We had like a guy, who got so crazy and who wanted to run against the wall to feel his body, to feel, yeah, but you can't let him run through the wall.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Or into the fire, or into the window.
Yeah.
You gotta hold him, yeah. And it looks like in a mental asylum, push it out, yeah. So,
yeah, I imagine that's a balance. Like
mental hospital,
I've
yeah.
thought about this idea because, I imagine one day I can see myself maybe doing similar things to you, working with people in some capacity, probably with mushrooms. So I've
Yeah.
imagined this
Yeah.
scenario. And one of the tricky things is, with the psychedelic stuff, it creates that feeling where you want to be open, you want to be non-judgmental, you want people to do their own thing. But if you're
Yeah,
going to create
yeah.
the ceremony space, you also have to have boundaries. You have to be able to protect
Yes.
people who maybe are going to make
Yes.
bad decisions under some of these influences. So I think that's part of it.
And
I've talked to other
yeah.
people, a man in Canada named Chris, who works directly with people with mushrooms as well, works on a very
Yeah.
spiritual level, different kind of
Yeah, I
thing.
saw it, yeah.
But he talks about, like, he has rules that, like, he doesn't let people like go into the bathroom alone if they're working with him, because he uses really
same here,
yeah,
same here.
he talks about literally holding people down if they're trying to go alone to the bathroom, because he
Yeah,
can't risk
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we are not holding; we're guiding them to the toilet. Then,
Yeah.
But the thing is, if someone wants to leave the room under circumstances, I let them go into the second room where we still have the sight on them, but not in the first 3 or 4 hours. In the first 3 or 4 hours, the mushrooms are so strong, you can be 100% sure that everything coming out of that person is just nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much they feel it's reality they have. It's really, the mind goes crazy. It fights the mushrooms, and then that is the interesting thing. The ego tries to get into all tricks. To not release, to not let go, to not. It. In a one-on-one session, I had a guy, who wanted to run to the door. I luckily locked the door, and he was like a big bodybuilding guy, and standing in front of me, open the door, And then 3 seconds later, he forgot, where I was standing here. And I said, I wanted to go back to your bedroom. Ah, yes. Yeah. I guided him back to the bedroom, and he lied down for 5 minutes, and then get up again to the door and wants to run out. Yeah. So this happened for 2 hours constantly.
I could imagine. Yeah. I do know,
But
like,
luckily
mushrooms,
I locked the door.
they have this, for me, I feel they have like it's this, I guess you could use energy, but they have an energy that seems to go up and down, and there'll be times when I just want to run through the forest.
The waves,
and then,
the waves.
2 seconds later, I'm like, no, actually, I don't want to run. I want to lay in a comfortable bed and just close my eyes for a while, because I feel squeezy all of a sudden, or whatever it is. And there is, I think so. In that sense, it does help to have some kind of guide with you to just keep you on an even sort of level, because you can just get so up and down.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I'm sensitive with the words, yeah? I'm saying we're no guides, we're caretakers, But because if you're a caretaker, you're just bystander, you're not guiding anyone. And I don't want to have them having a trip I want to have them having, yeah? It's just,
I see, yeah.
I want to, like you said, make the boundaries clear,
yeah.
So running against the wall to feel the body is definitely not possible, yeah? So there, or shouting loud in the room, like, I'm good!
If you have like 10 people there,
no, that's not working,
Yeah.
And
right.
And so, but you see, it's always, I have, if you play this role of being the boss or being the whatever, the one saying it, it's always difficult. And I talk to people like, hey, sorry if I was too hard with you. And
I would imagine it would be hard, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that most of them say, hey, I needed it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much that you gave it to me. And afterwards we go into a hugging and not kissing, but, like hugging and very close mode. And during the night with the mushrooms and also the next morning. So it's okay. I always see that, I need to, go on the other side and make the, and have the peaceful contact. Yeah.
Right.
So, but it's really, I learned so much over the time, and the Psilohuasca, you would never guess, is so strong. We talked about, that I rarely do it, last time I did it is 3 years ago, and I had a very strong, I had a very strong dose, like I was repeating the dose where I released, where I had my awakening, and I didn't release, you know. I was just, my mind went into a loop of, you have to release, yeah. And that's crap, you know, that it's just the mind wants to repeat the experience before. And it took me quite a while to realize, hey, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, just don't follow that idea of release. And then I got really peaceful and got into half a non-dual state. But that's the thing, you know, you get the message, you understand it, and that's what I also want to talk about today, is you implement the information into daily life.
Yeah.
You know, hey, we are not, you know, living in that 7-hour mushroom trip. We are living in that 365-day trip called 1 year in life.
Yeah.
And another year, and another year. I mean, I'm 41 years, 365 days, you know, that's a shitload of days. And there are so, you know, 6-7 hours. What is this? So the idea behind a psychedelic session, and a psychedelic session is just one of these tools, you know. Many people do like not eating, you know, not meditation, like
fasting.
walking meditation, fasting, yeah. So there's or going into the forest and eating only plants or whatever, you know. It's just so many approaches to calm down the mind, to find a place of non-duality, of non-thinking. That's the goal of all of the methods. Because when you're in that space where you're not think, you can see the true surface of your being, and then you realize what the thinking actually is. It's just the head you have on your head. It's just the stuff I wear here. You take it on, and it comments on everything. And so I just said I didn't want to run this week after the weekend. Pretty crazy, but I knew the person and it was okay. So it was a very lovely session. It was full moon and it was so beautiful, you know. And he had a very strong dose, but still he didn't release because you know, he already did it, you know. So the message he got was find peace with this person, peace with this person. So he was forgiving a big bunch of people during that night.
Right.
And through this forgiving, he was seeing, you know, that this stuff he put between them and himself is just what kept him from being pure with them. And it's so interesting that when he gets back to meeting them again, you know, to see how the space of non-judgment, you know, then creates this magical, Ramdas called it's a spiritual high, you know, it's a contact high, he called it, a contact high. It's like when you have this space of just for a second or 2 or 3,
right,
where both realize, hey, wow, it's all cool, you know, it's
right.
Namaste. Yeah.
But I like what you were talking about that, and like that's a good example of it. Is like you can have an experience where you envision or you come to conclusions that you say you have to forgive these people or get past certain things, and then you go back to your life and you see those people and you remember that feeling and that conclusion that you had, and then it becomes, well, how do you take that and then move forward in your relationship with that person the rest of the year? Like, how do you? And you can take little steps, and like I think that is the message, is like to have these bigger visions, these peak experiences, and then filter them into your regular day-to-day grind, your day-to-day life and everything.
What I learned over the past 6 years, and that really is the absolute most important message I personally believe, what life wants to tell us through the mushrooms, through the meditation, through everything, what life wants to tell us, and that's really, really, really important, that there are no other people. It's really, if you enter the space, meeting someone, every judgment comes from the mind. The heart never judges. When I judge you, I make you into an object from the mind space. My mind is just a biocomputer. And if this guy says, oh, this Carl guy, I don't know, you know, then it's just a thinking process here. And if I believe that thing, I'm attached to material, and then I can't be non-dual coming from here, from that. I mean, it's, you know, it's the heart, yeah, but you know what I mean, from inside. And every thought between other people and myself is a boundary I set up. I'm closing up to them. So what you just said, you know, when you're entered and again the space and you have forgiven someone, you know, it's just down. Yeah. The curtain is down and you can approach this person without having this preconception about him. You see him more pure.
Right.
Yeah? And you're not in this judgmental mode of, I hate you. I'm not good with you. you know, and I still have it, you know. A good friend of mine, he gave me really a lot of shit, when we talked on the phone for half an hour. He was, wah, 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 wah. And I guess it was anger towards himself or towards, I guess so, yeah, because, you know, whatever, yeah, but he was putting it on me, and it was just like, you know, it's hard to keep on smiling and say, hey, yeah.
I know, yeah.
Because I didn't want to put the phone down also, so I just was smiling and said, hey, you know, if you wanna see me like this, okay, you know, but you know, I'm not that. I'm sorry, I'm not that. You know, it's your problem if you worry for me. Yeah. I mean, what can I do if someone worries for me? I mean, it's his job, you know, to see, hey, worries, where am I getting to? You know, life takes care. Who am I to take care for someone when life takes care? I mean, just a human being, you know, just a little bit in the universe. Yeah. So the universe takes care about everything. It's all, you know, very natural, evolving. Everything is following natural rules, you know. There's, you know, the spiral of life. Everything just happens the way.
Yeah. It does seem that way.
It happens the way it is supposed to be. So we are just vehicles of that big life spiral, you know. We believe like, you done this to me, yeah. but in the end, you know, who did it really? And was this person just a vehicle? And if you give up to be angry on the person, you can see the teaching behind it. You can see that this person triggered a place in you where you need to work on, where you need to let go of.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I do feel that. Yeah. I want to talk about a couple of things you said there, but when people get like offended at stuff, like if someone gets upset about something that was said, that's you. Like I feel like it's almost always just because they have something in themselves. I always feel like if you're like, people use the word triggered now. Triggered is always the new thing. Yeah. But if you're like, if you get
button pressing,
you get upset about someone pushing a button, that's on you. Like there's nothing someone is gonna. There's no word someone can say or someone use that's gonna make me feel so upset and pissed off. And I'm not bound by words, but some people get so attached to these things and these ideas that things are racist to say a certain word and all this stuff. And anyway,
and you know, it's a learning process. Honestly, you know, I can feel that this half an hour was a bit too much for my mind. You know, I have difficulties when I think about. And he's my beloved, you know, he's a really close friend. He's very close to me. And, so, you know, it's always tempting that you can go into this, but he did so, you know, and you have to apologize and all that, or just see the teaching of it. What button did he press in you? And is it not more that I should thank him, you know, that he pressed the button? And then again, you know, if you do mistakes, you know, or things happening, why is it happening? It's just to show you something, to show you like, hey, you were not taken care properly, or maybe just show the person who is suffering from that thing you did, you know, what is coming out of that suffering, like, you know, see what is really behind that button being pressed in you.
A way that I look at it a lot is like I think of it like stories, that we tell ourselves stories constantly. It seems like that's how our mind works. We're always coming up with reasons for things happening, and sometimes it can be delusional by just telling. And it's almost like, I mean, another idea that Chris had, the man who in Canada who works with mushrooms, I mean, he told me in the last podcast I did with him that he doesn't believe in free will, and that was just
same here.
Yeah, and that's an interesting idea, is that we're actually just doing what we do, and our mind is just there to tell little stories about it, like, oh, I did this because of this, or I did this because of this, but really we're just all just doing what we're meant to do, and there's no real. We don't know why necessarily.
But the funny thing is, you know, if you put that out, if you say, hey, you don't have a chance, just give up and let life decide for you, the mind goes crazy.
It's scary.
Why am I here? Why am I here? I need to decide, you know, it's my decision. It's, I need to, and, you know, and even if the mind decides and it happens that way, you know, look closely to it, you know, why did it really happen? And life has ways of making things happen. And it's, you know, I mean, overall, we're getting back to the point. This is a natural thing here. This is a human body. And it's just not different to the plant in the garden or to the tree in the forest. It's just a natural living being. And it's developing and it's evolving naturally. And it has a life cycle, you know, and energy is flowing through us. And, you know, we really don't have a chance against these natural processes. It's a very, very, I mean, the universe is just stronger than you. So give up the fight.
Yeah. That's part of it. Yeah. To just give up that the power that you possess is so minor in comparison to what's out there. To just, be a little humble about it.
Yeah, and going back, you know, humbleness, gratitude for what's happening, that gets you so much further. If you approach life with a little bit more gratitude, you can see that life is also, you know, giving you more stuff back. It's what you give, you get. It's what you give, you get. And if you take away these boundaries between people and see, hey, what can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Right.
Yeah. Then you will be given back. And these weekends, you know, they are really a thing where I give and give and give. I'm so empty on Monday. You know, I really need the Monday to stay in bed and do nothing. I need to find maybe whatever, but
no, I would
Monday
imagine
usually.
So. I would imagine
the Monday I'm dead. Yeah,
by like being that sort of figure of responsibility during that whole weekend, and also just, you know, like we mentioned, the kind of things that these bring up in people are very deep, meaningful conversations, and to have these meaningful, deep conversations with 10 people for a whole weekend over and over is that would be exhausting. I'm sure, you know, like it's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
it's a yin and yang thing, you know. When people say, "Hey, you're so great, what you do on these weekends and how much you put in, and wow, and how your mind dissolves when you work with people and all this," you know, then this surely brings me energy. And when you let, you know, the exhaustion from Monday and resting on Monday, let the exhaustion heal a bit, you know. On Tuesday you start to see what you actually delivered the people and how much was coming back. So today, on Friday, I see the last weekend totally different than on Monday. On Monday I was just dead, you know. Right, and I thought, why am I doing this? And I want to stop this. I can't do it anymore. And blah blah. On here, you know. And today my mind sees, hey, remember this, remember that, and you know, it's all developing, and people after a week they can see more of the process, and it's really, you know, I still believe, and that's why I'm doing this weekends with this strong stuff. I still believe that working with psychedelics should not be a repetitive thing. It's really about doing it once per year, twice maybe, but not more. Really, not more. And I understand.
I think you mentioned that on the first podcast we did, was that some people are caught up chasing healing and chasing these ceremonies over and over, and
it's, you know, so much romanticism which is attached to that thing, and I need to purge my bad stuff. I mean, this talked about that last time. You have this disgusting plant material in
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and you purge automatically because your body just can't take it, and then you romanticize this process of giving back the shit you
Yeah, I
just
mean,
drank.
that
Yeah,
could be like, if that's
with I
true.
purge my
Yeah,
energy.
that's an
Yeah,
example of these stories I think people can tell themselves. And I mean, you're like one of the only people I've talked to who really says that, who says, "Oh no, that whole purging thing is just a physical reaction to eating a bunch of plant matter and it makes you throw
yeah,
up. It's not like any." But because that happens in their ceremonies, a lot of the Amazonian shamans are saying, "Oh, this is
yeah,
the whole process of the whole
yeah,
DMT experience," and they come up with
yeah,
stories about how it pulls all that negative energy to the stomach,
yeah,
and then blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
refreshing to
but
hear that.
then yeah, but the interesting thing is you never heal. Yeah, you never you never give up seeking the healing until you understand that the seeking keeps you from finding. That's
Hmm.
one of the big teachings many gurus give further.
Hmm.
Arjuna Adak is talking about it, Ramdas is talking about it. The seeking is in the way of the finding, and it's really, you know,
Hmm.
it's all here now. And
Yeah.
and and if it looks crappy, it's what you have in that moment. And man, this is winter, depression, and all the stuff coming towards me. And ooh, family businesses. And my wife just said to me, Ollie, I'm so exhausted. I can't take it anymore.
Hmm.
And then you see yourself smoking more weed in the evenings because you just, need this space of non-thinking, of letting go of all the God, blah blah drama stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
which surely keeps you, like in a loop, and next day you're like, ooh, it's a slower process to start, and
Right.
yeah, but it's all okay. And the interesting thing is in winter, yeah, when the energies are low and all is suppressed, and it's even that the air has more dirt, yeah, the whole dirt, which is usually quite loose in the high energy of the warm.
Hmm.
If it's cold, it all gets on you. You get pretty dry skin, and it all breaks up, and
Yeah.
you're really getting it. Yeah. So it's less water in the air and more toxic stuff.
Hmm.
Specifically here in the big city areas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're in Canada, maybe have more fresh, clean stuff,
Where
but
I am,
here
yeah.
it's big city stuff. So when all this stuff is, keeping it low, we are still doing the same like in summer. I
Hmm.
mean, the animals, what do they? Hibernate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they just pull the plug and see, hey guys, I'm off. It's winter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, everyone, yeah, many, many, many animals, all they fly away to the south. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But what they do is actually, change their behavior because of the natural surrounding. And what are we doing, we humans?
We're
We go on
working
as
40
crazy as
hours a week.
before. Yes, and we go on as crazy as before, and we even do more shit because we need to have the right gift for Christmas to the this and that. But and you
Hmm.
know it. Maybe have it yourself. Christmas is always a place for fights, yeah. And you have the dad going so crazy. Oh, my Christmas was always, like. But then you release. You can really see that on the first and the second Christmas day, people slow down,
Hmm.
and then the burst of energy on New Year's Eve, yeah,
Hmm.
and then really slowly, then the sun comes back. We talked about it
Yeah.
before the podcast. The 21st December is the day where there's minimum sun here. Then for 3 days you have minimum sun, and then the light starts to increase again. Yeah. So
Hmm.
we are going all down. It's all natural, but we don't see it. We are so busy with the next stuff we have to do on work and
Right.
privately, and so we go crazy. Yeah. And if we see that we need more rest, that we need more, like hibernation thing, it will really do good on us. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
So
saying like it's yeah, I don't know, like it's like you're almost saying like we should just accept that it's okay to slow down at certain times, or even to get like
Yeah,
depressed
yeah.
or something at certain times.
Yeah, that's okay. And you
Yeah.
see, the winter depression is very common. And why? Because all the energy is so it pushes on you. All the stuff is really pushing on you. And I mean, it's energetic. We are all energy.
Mm.
And if the energy is not loose, if the energy is low, not low, but compact, you know that from water molecules, yeah. You put them on you put them on the stove, yeah, and you heat up the water, and it loosens up, and then you can't see it anymore,
Yeah.
And when it comes back, in the winter, it drops, it gets water again, and then it is ice, yeah.
Yeah.
So it just shows you the water, yeah, just shows you what happens inside every human being too. And that is, the problem we all have is that we forgot that we are part of this living organism called Earth, that we are part of the natural life circle of all things, of all animals, of all
And that's
nature.
what I remember. I remember
Yeah.
you saying that as well before. That because you like when you say you don't believe in you don't believe in healing. We're not trying to heal. We're just trying to remember. Like our
what we
place,
really
our place
are.
here. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that we in the first place, yeah, are not that doctor or not that guy working here or there. We are not having this role of being someone. We are inside, just pure living organism, and we are part of that whole, life cycle around us, of that whole. Yeah, and I mean, it's so logical. Even if you don't get the spiritual energy stuff message, I mean, look at your skin. It's cut it, and it's it's living. It heals itself, and but we forgot that we don't. You see, especially when you're sick. What do? You go to the doctor and he cures your sickness. Well, that's wrong. Your body cures the sickness. And usually sickness goes away when you give up to fight it. And Western medicine, what does it do? It's not curing anything.
It's all pain killing.
It's all it all sees what's on the surface, but the real thing is that energetically you're not in the right space. You should let the energy more flow through you, and if you can't do that, the body forces you to lie down.
That's basically the conclusion I've come to. Like early on, I think when I was doing this podcast, I was very much like thinking that these things can help heal people, and they've helped heal me and things. But now, after talking to more and more people about it and really looking at my own sort of process and stuff, I kind of come to the conclusion that healing, I might have the wrong idea about healing, and really what I think healing is, and this is something someone in Europe, Zoot Nell, I don't know if you heard my podcast with him, a guy in Estonia, but anyway, he works with mushrooms, and he told me what healing is really just being able to move freely through energies, through systems. It's not holding on to the anger, it's moving through, expressing it and moving through it to be happy. You're not always trying to be happy, you're not always trying to be sad, you're always trying to continue to move and continue to move forward. And that's my new, I think, definition of like basically what healing is to me, is just the ability to move forward. And when people it's just when they get stuck in a pattern or in an energy or zone, that's when they run into problems, is you're just trying to hold on to something when really you got to just move forward in some way.
Absolutely. It's just giving up on things, and it's so funny because in winter you can see many people throwing away stuff. I don't know if you've witnessed that, but in winter especially, people are throwing away stuff because they want to get rid of all the stuff they have. And when we see this outside, like with old stuff, it's internally. The most important thing is internally. We gotta let go of old stuff. And old stuff in us, energetically, is usually, what we talked about earlier, these boundaries between people, these things we put between us and another human being. And it doesn't matter if it's a dad, he just plays dad, he's not my dad. He just put his penis in the vagina of my mom, and then the two cells met and all this stuff, but they were just the vehicle of creation, of universe creating me. So, you know, who is he? He's just, you know, he's the person, in that role. And if I approach him without all these ideas and see him as the human being he is, and see him and forgive him all his flaws because he has this stuff from his childhood, and you know, that's the thing, you know. What can we blame anybody for? It's the stuff they've been given, just like the stuff we've been given. So man, you know, if we give up, and back to, you know, the main thing I learned in the past 6 years, the main thing is really, if we approach other people, don't put ideas, thinking, boundaries, anything between us. If we enter a human being and then be conscious, hi Lily, my daughter coming, and then be conscious, you know, for the mind, you know, like you said, you know, the mind is always describing and telling us stuff and making a picture out of it. And the mind is doing this with people too. It's not only doing this with spaces, it's doing it with people too. This is the guy. And even if you just go to the supermarket and there's a very, like, you know, big lady, and you see, what a big ass, you know. I'm so happy I'm not having this ass, my mind says, So I'm saying, and in return, I say to myself, hey, Olli, come on, please, for, you know, Right. And then you can let go of this, you know. And it's so funny because I often have people who I first have boundaries with, I meet them again. You know, I meet them again and get into contact. And if it's severe boundaries you have, you get the chance of letting go of them by looking deeper at that person. I have had that with many people. I mean, when we moved over to the place where we are, it's 8 years or something ago. Always when you move over, you learn new people. You know, you learn you're meeting new people, and from school, from kindergarten, from whatever, So you always have this like, oh, god damn, I don't want to be close to that one, and interestingly, life gives you the chance at a later point, like you have to work with that person to make the kindergarten stuff work or anything, you know. Or she's in the same, like you take care for the kids for the computer session, I did this, and the other mother taking care for the kids in the computer session was this mother. I get goose skin, and crazy, and I had the chance to learn who she really is. And I had, you know, like I maybe have said it in the last session, like with police officers, we all have this police officer. Oh, good. I don't know. You know, because he has this ability to just lock you into prison and be bad with you, and you know, but actually, it's just a role he plays. And if you look behind that, and there's these two policemen we have here in this little town, and I did this. This bicycle sessions with the kids and helped out as a parent, you know, helped out, and the two cops were with me. And in the end, because I said, oh, forget my name, I'm Olli, you know, and in the end they were calling me, hey Olli, everything's okay. And when I meet them on the street now, when they do their job, you know, here in a small city, it's just, hi Olli, how you doing, you know, oh, you shaved your hair, and oh yes, no, where's gone, you know, like, you know, very beautifully, just humans being, just two humans being there. He gives up the role of being a policeman. I give up the role of being afraid of a policeman, being the scary citizen or whatever.
I see what you mean. You can connect to people in that way to remove those. But the tricky part is, like, you can't always do that either. Like, some people you're not going to be able to connect with, and some policemen are going to take away all your weed and throw you in jail and do whatever the hell. So, you know, when someone does have like a power over you in some way, if someone is, you know, inflicting their will onto you're kind of, you know.
Still, Carl, you have the chance to see what kind of message your mind gives to that situation, to that person, and to let go of that, to not believe it, and to not go into like
Yeah.
asshole.
You can always
but to just let go and say, hey, come on.
You can affect how you react to some of these things. Yeah.
And that changes every situation with another human being. I tell you, if try it out, it's really changing it. If you don't put a boundary between the other and you, he is free to be, and that free to be is changing so much in your relationship, and it's in the space. It creates a different space, and it's really important. That's what we tell on the weekends also. Just let go of your boundaries. Be here together as human beings. And it's so amazing. I have it too, when people come to the weekend, I know their name and, just 2 or 3 sentences in email and I don't know a fuck. Then I see their face and I think like, and still the first thing I do is hug them. Yeah. Many people are like, want to shaky things, but I always hug people. I mean, in this situation, I'm free to do. You can't do this with a police officer.
That's right.
It's Mr. But it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. But in my situation on the weekends, I can hug them, and they always say like, "Whoa, you hugged me." And I was overwhelmed already by that, and. It's really important to let go of any roles.
So like by approaching people in a certain way, like not projecting a certain role, you're allowing them freedom to then not respond in that role either. So if you come at them with a certain energy or a certain notion of who they are, if you come at someone and you're everything you're expressing is like, hey, you're a child of God and I am one with the universe and I love you so much. It's really nice to meet you. They're not, it's going to be a lot harder for them to be like, I'm a police officer and fuck you.
It's really like it. I don't know if I told the story last time of this police officer I met. I had this feeling that day that I will get caught from speeding or so. So I was driving slowly all the time. And then I got in a situation where I just had to overtake someone. Sadly, at that point, I was not allowed to overtake. I didn't recognize. So I took the girl, the lady in their car, which was so slow, and a few meters on the right side, the stuff came out and they were stopping me. And this guy, I was approaching him with, I was knowing I will get caught. So I had the feeling before. So I was just like, I can't believe it. I had the feeling and now I'm here and I get caught. Hey, this is overtaking. It's it's €80 and 1 point. You have this point system. Certain points and then you lose your driving license. So, speeding and everything is just collecting this points. So 1 point and €80. And this guy was like, oh, and I said, but I'm sorry, I was just approaching him with love. Really. I was just like, I had no anger. I had zero anger towards him. I had zero, like, he wants to fuck with me. And he was so sweet because he opened up. And then I made a mistake, because then mine set in. And in the end, I asked, hey, can you just let go of that stuff and just let me go? Yeah. Like crazy. Yeah. But I had this feeling of maybe,
And he said no.
Well, and he had a colleague in the front of the car. He had a colleague, so he wasn't alone. So he can't do this anyway. But I wasn't seeing that. I was just in that loving space with him. And he said, oh, well, I can't do this. This is severe stuff. I need to, 1 point, €80, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And guess what? 3 days later, in Germany, they have these papers, old stuff from the 80s. You can see it. It's very, like, you can see it is very old, but they still have it. It's a warning. They can give a warning out of their free choice and say like €30 warning.
Right.
And don't get you for what you actually did. So in my post, in my mailbox, I had on Friday, 3 days later, I had a warning from him, €30. So that's it. He get me this warning and I wasn't €80 at 1 point. I was off with it, but I was in tears, man. I was so overwhelmed from that situation that, life says thank you when you say, life, I love you. Or, you know what I mean? When you say yes to life, yes, life says yes to you. And guess
Right.
what I did? I took his name and I called the police office.
Really?
And yeah, really, honestly, I said, can I have this person? And I said to him, hey, I'm so deeply grateful for what you've done, that it
Well,
just gave me a
nice.
warning. It's amazing and unbelievable. And then we had a 3-second moment of spiritual high, of contact high, like I was saying. I didn't see him because it was phone, but I knew he was silent for 3 seconds. And then the first thing he said, well, I'm allowed to do this. Sometimes I do it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
my
cool
role
though.
is,
Yeah, that's cool.
But 3 seconds, there was nothing. And in that 3 seconds, pure love. And it was amazing because he was seeing the gratitude coming from me, like the graciousness he was giving me before. So it was unbelievable. And since then, I've been really rarely stopped for anything. It's really. It seems, and before that, I was constantly stopped for everything. I really rarely stop for anything.
That's a good example of that idea that you can change. You can change how things are, how people react to you, how things in your life, and that's a good way to do it. But to do that, I would say, takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage sometimes to be. Say, if you want to use the word loving or just kind to people who are not kind to you, because there's always the possibility of rejection, that if you put yourself out there and go, hey, you're a great person, they might slap you in the face, or they might say, no, well, screw you, I don't think you're that way. Or
and from that thing you can learn too. I mean, if you're offended, by their rejection, what is it? Who is offended in you? Is that, and so you can learn from that too. And Ramdas told this story of a police officer who stopped him, and he was loving him so much. And then the police officer in the end was waving goodbye and stuff. So I knew this story before. So it was amazing that it works. It works.
Yeah, I think that's like the main. That's the main thing, like day to day, that people can do is like just in regular relationships, whether it's just with your family or with like the cashier at the grocery store, is just like. Interact in a different way. That's really it. Like that's the whole thing. What else are you going to do?
That's my main reason why I wanted to talk with you again, because last time it was all this strong Psilohuasca, I work with strong sacraments and blah. But honestly, I'm sorry if I was too pushy. I'm sorry. I just was a little bit too much Olli there. But the core of it was just like, I want to show people the possibilities they have as a human being, as a God's child, as part of the whole Godness, and that is so important. It is not about running from one session to the other, but if you do a session, do it for real. Go in there, give it all in, and give high dose, and just see what's coming out. Surely it's better if you have someone taking care of you, so nothing can happen to you. And I did a lot of one-on-ones. I said it, and a one-on-one is the perfect way to do this. Yeah. So
it kind of reminds me of that saying. God, I can't remember who it was, and I said it, but it was when you get the message, hang up the phone. And they were referring to some of these psychedelics.
Alan Watts.
Yeah.
If you get the message, hang up the phone. It's Alan Watts. Yeah. Right. And it's really like that. It's really like that. If you have the message, use that message to change 3, 6, 5 days per year, and not running for the next session and wait for the next session and see, like, I mean, this stuff, ayahuasca or psilocybin, as DMT or psilocybin, it changes the chemistry in your brain, so you have a serotonin uplift for 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, so it's just natural that after 3 weeks you go back into usual patterns and see yourself like, the whole shit house is going, down in flames again, and if you're very cautious for that and see how it's physically changing because the serotonin thing changes again, and not see like, when can I do a next ayahuasca session, because you're just running. We did that. Running from one session to the other is just drug addiction, and but it's about see how you can generate with love the same kind of serotonin uplift in your brain as these sessions give you. It's really, if you start smiling more, your brain releases serotonin too. That's just physically, it's true, yeah. There's this lady in Germany, I forgot her name. It's really, she's from the 80s and from Berlin, and she's so lovely. And she even did English stuff. And
was she someone who did studies on that, or?
yeah, she did studies, and she said that smiling, she gave this beautiful picture that if you're at work, yeah, and you can't go like this because everyone would see you just like crazy. Do it when you go down under your desk, like.
Oh, like just to yourself, yeah.
Yeah, or when you put a book back.
Just practice smiling more.
Yeah, because the muscle, it's just physically, yeah. She said if the muscle, the muscle here pushes on the brain at certain areas, and that releases physically, releases good stuff if you keep doing this for 1 minute. Yeah, if you're smiling from the heart, like if you're laughing from the heart, really, like because someone made a great joke, and then it's 10 seconds is enough, yeah, even less, yeah. But she said if you're just like this,
yeah, that's funny, that's hilarious.
Do it for 1 minute, yeah, and just keep on, yeah, just keep on.
That there are like physical responses to some of these natural things.
Yeah. She and I tried it. It works. It really works. If you like driving a car, no one sees you. You feel better. I swear, you feel better.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, I forget to do this truly. Yeah, so I should do it more often. And smiling is really, I mean, when you smile, no thinking, yeah. So it's the best thing you can do. When you laugh, no thinking. If you're from the heart laughing, it frees and opens and refreshes you so much.
Yeah, I think
have you not recognized this?
Even that, like what you said, just not thinking, that seems to be like a pretty big part of all of this too. And when I think about like when I've like just recently, like I talked to you just before that I was like going through like sort of like a winter depression kind of thing, just kind of going through old habits and old things. And I think the worst thing I can do is sit around and think about it and think about what I could do and think about what went wrong and what I should do in the future. The best thing I could do is do anything. Someone said to me one time, the best thing to do is anything all the time. Just do anything and just whether it's go for a run to get out of your head, just do something to stop thinking about it, because it makes it worse.
It lets the energy flow again. When you're sitting here, you have the energy stuck here, no? And if you move, it's logically, yeah. I said it, I guess, before on another podcast. I had a session, ayahuasca with plain crystals, crystalline DMT, 250 milligram, with a friend of mine, and he was sitting on his couch, and I was sitting on my couch, and he was like, "Oh, this stuff is not working," blah blah blah, and I was like, "I need to die. Eckhart Tolle said, I need to die. My ego has to die. And I was in this loop of, I need to die, thinking. And then I needed to pee. Yeah. So I stood up. And what happens then? The mind needs to look where it is going. Yeah. And just from going out of the loop of thinking about this, I need to die shit, and thinking about where am I going. And I mean, I was high, on 250 milligrams of it's strong dose, so you were like, well, where's the toilet, and you need to process so much. And then I sat on the toilet and realized, man, he is thinking, I am thinking, why are we not getting together and share ourselves? So we got together and we smiled and laughed with each other. And then we had a contact high for 4 hours, just looking into each other's eyes. And I saw myself even in him. Yeah. It was so beautiful, just eye to eye contact. And there was no thinking left then. Yeah. But it's really what I wanted to say with this is, like you just said, do something. If you do something, the mind needs to process every place you are. And even if you're at home, and most of the stuff comes from the mind stored, if you're fresh in a new space, you have holiday, you know that feeling of everything is fresh. It's like fresh, all input is never seen before, wow. Yeah, you have this uplifting feeling of, wow, I'm on holiday. So, but the thing is that it's just because you've never seen that place. You can see that if you return to a place in your holidays, that is different.
Right.
It's
yeah, it's why traveling is so exciting. Yeah.
Yes, and 80% usually of the brain is stored information. It's not fresh. If you're in a space, 80% comes from the memory. It's easier for the mind to take the memory and just look what changed. Yeah. Instead of just of getting all the stuff back in which are there. Yeah. But the thing is, you lose the freshness. If you get stored information in your consciousness, you just lose the freshness of the fact that everything is new. Everything, I mean, even if you enter a room you met before, it's not the same room anymore. It's a fresh room. It's, but
if you're able to practice,
we forget this.
If you can look at that in a more practical, like start doing that more practical, like one example, I was talking to a guy, a local native elder guy here, and he was talking about, he works with people with addictions a lot, and he was saying one of the things, if you want to change something in your life, if you want to change anything in your life, practice making changes. And so what he said was like, brush your teeth with your left hand for a while. Just try that. Start with that. Make a small change, because everything we do is so habitual. We're caught up in our routines. Break it somehow. Do something to make it fresh. Make it new. So I really like that.
That is so cool. I love that you say, I met this guy, because that is life, We're all sharing our ways, of approaching life. And that's what it's about. How can we change our perspective by approaching life in a different way, And that is what the sacraments are really about. The sacraments are just one tool, being like meditation, like fasting, like all these stuff, and it doesn't matter. It's just one tool. I mean, it's a powerful tool. It can be really powerful too. And you go non-dual, wow, and again, it's a difference between going non-dual for 2 to 3 hours during a mushroom 7-8 hour night, or going non-dual for 10 minutes during a 5 meal session. It's a much different way of non-duality. You slowly go there, you give up slowly, you have the chance to process your giving up. You're at the space for a long time, come back, because waves, mushrooms waving. You come back and store information of the non-duality. That's a unique thing when you're in the 10-minute 5 meal space. You don't know a fuck where you were. You just know nothing. And then you store information of the one non-duality, and then you slowly come back and you realize, hey, wow, what can I do with this? What is life really about?
You get that glimpse, and then
Yes. And you see how the mind is just a piece of clothes, you took on to yourself. And you don't need to be that commentary. Right. You can be behind the commentary. And you can see the commentary just like it is, a commentary. An interesting approach to what is actually there. Right. But usually that approach is just old stuff from your childhood, and it's repetitive, and it gets boring over time. So, like you said, with the depression, I have depression too. So everybody says, hey, can I heal my depression? No, you can't. But you can change your approach to them. Yeah, and that's making the whole ball game much different.
Yeah, I do.
If you have a different approach, it's
I do think it's a lot about like we said before, movement. And like one thing I really like with depression and stuff, like if you're gonna get out of it, you have to move forward in some way. Because I find what depression is for me is I basically just spiral down, and I just get it. Just becomes, the little things become like little problems become big problems all of a sudden. Like smoking pot once in a while, is not really a problem. But when I'm depressed, if I smoke pot every day, it becomes a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
That becomes a problem. Same with like video
Yeah.
games or things like that for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was gonna say, um, it- there's this scientist,
But
famous scientist who
yeah.
died. His name is Richard Feynman, I think. He worked on like the atom bomb. Anyway, he
Okay.
talked about, he broke down like what heat is and how heat and cold is just molecules moving at different speeds. So
Yeah.
when something is hot, they're moving all over the place. Things are moving.
Yeah.
When they're
Yeah.
cold,
Yeah.
things are just still. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a really good metaphor to think about when thinking about some of this stuff too. Is that if when you're cold, when you're really cold, you're dead, right? When we're alive
Yeah.
at our
Yeah.
best, we're
Yeah.
warm, we're
We're
hot, we're
warm. Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
So if you want to be alive and you want to be feeling good and everything, you got
Yeah.
to move. You got to really move.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you'll
Yeah.
feel better. Your blood will be flowing.
Yes,
Everything will
you're
be
right.
flowing. And
We create energy by moving. Also, what helps, I found that the most benefit on a coffee is that the fact that it's hot. Yeah?
yeah.
Because that hot water gives you energy. Not necessarily only the caffeine, it's the hot water.
Yeah.
And also a tea, I drink every morning 2 teas, yeah? And I feel alive after that.
I just did that
It's really-
this morning too, yeah.
Yeah, I sat down and make my emails, which I wasn't imagining to do them before. It gets you energy. I
yeah.
mean, you gotta, like you said, you gotta move and create yourself energy. It's just the startup mechanism. You drink a tea, it starts you up. It just gives you the boost, and then you get up and create your own energy, because we're, like you said, we are little I say Kraftwerk, yeah, we're creating energy ourselves, we're just a power plant.
Totally.
Yeah, we're just little power plants, so that's what they say in the Matrix, the machines use us as
that's
power
right.
plants.
That's right. Yeah.
So, we are power plants. So use it, create the energy yourself, and then go back into that flow of natural energy your body creates. And then you don't have to have this stuck stuff.
I think the hardest part of it. Oh, go ahead.
But one thing, just let me finish. One thing. If you don't do it, it's okay too. because putting more energy into blaming yourself for being led is wasting it again.
Right.
So if you realize that I was in bed the whole day, it's okay.
You're right.
No one is going to be hurt. Life takes care that you do the stuff you didn't do today, tomorrow, or the next day. And everything is cool. I need to clean the toads for 5 days already. It's the 5th day, and I wasn't able to clean them. Once we finish, I will clean them finally. But they are okay. The water is still okay. I had a look, and they need a lot of care. So I look at them every day. And I will have to feed them later. So but it's okay. They're not dying.
I think that's important. It seems like it's natural to like we have winter and summer. It's probably natural not to be go doing everything all the time as well. We have to fall asleep every night. There has to be a come down as well. We can't live on 100% at all times. So if we're not always moving and always super happy, I think like you say, it's normal and it's okay as well. Yeah.
It's okay. I guess the deepest or one of the most tempting things is really to forgive yourself, to be forgiving towards yourself and say, hey, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. You're not bad or wrong or not loved. It's okay. Just be cool.
And that's so hard though. That's like the hardest thing to do.
I know. It's what I'm saying. We're sitting here talking about it. Still, next day we're sitting there. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. And look on last year, you had 50 days doing nothing. This year it's only 40. So the process is there. Yeah. And that's what I said last time. When we are young, we're always looking ahead, how we can improve ourselves. And when we are old, we look in behind and say, oh, it was so lovely those days. If you change this the other way around, like when we are old, we're looking towards, hey, I have so many life before me. And when we are young, we're looking behind and see, hey, how I changed all these years. So amazing. I'm not that guy when I was 20. I'm not that guy when I was 30.
Yeah.
Wow. I changed so much. So what an improvement, and not looking ahead how much I can improve even more. Just see what you're already done, achieved. Yeah. You're an amazing being. And every time you learn and you implement that, and the healing takes place by itself. Yeah. It takes place because you see old stuff is not getting you anywhere. So you change and new approaches, come on your way, and you take a different route because it is given to you, because you're now able to see it, because not looking always behind, but the old stuff is. So you see it and new paths are created right in front of you. And that's how the healing happens. Yeah. It's not that the healing is something I get rid of and now I'm free of it and I can move into a new life. It's to love the old stuff, to approach the old stuff with a gentle, forgiving, hey, it's just like it is, that's what you've been given. That's your mom and dad didn't love you enough. Hey, well, this guy was beaten to death, so you're better then. So, or be thankful that it wasn't like this. And, and even, if it all comes up and you're even worse, then it's okay, make the best out of it.
Yeah.
And
I think
by forgiving yourself, it's not your fault. Yeah. It's not your fault.
A good way for people to learn that, or to understand that too, is to hear from other people that maybe like for me, I've always appreciated when very successful people who people look at as successful open up and talk about, oh yeah, I was depressed for most of my life too. Or, when someone like Robin Williams kills himself, and everyone he was such a great actor. He was this funny man, and
he's so sweet.
Yeah. And so when you see that someone like that suffers so much too, it really normalizes it for everyone else, I think. And you can kind of see, I guess everyone struggles. It seems like everyone struggles too, and so you don't have to beat yourself up for also struggling.
Yeah, and the thing is that, again, that I always come back to that main thing, judging others for their struggling and for their addictions to take care of the struggling. Like, oh, you're addicted to this and that, Hey, fuck, look at yourself. You're addicted to this and that. Although it is not forbidden, it's still an addiction,
Yeah.
So these things, So look at your own stuff, Don't judge people. Don't put boundaries between people. If you really stick and keep doing this, it changes the whole game. It's really the most important teaching coming out of anything, of any practice, of any vehicle. Don't put boundaries. Don't judge others. Don't, just let others be as they are, just stand by and be the space where they can grow into.
And that's
really...
And I would emphasize that's, and I agree, but I think it's that's the ideal, that's the envisionment of that. But in practical day-to-day life, I've went back and forth with the ideas like that. And it's yeah, I do believe in that, non-judgment of people and all these things. But at times you also have to implement power over things, or you have to force things at times, like you have children, and I'm sure at times you have to go, look, you can't do that, you're gonna get run over by a car, you can't run on the street, I don't care how much you want to do it.
Or you don't fuck with me like this or that. I was talking in Berlin on a what was it, like a congress, So I was talking there too, and I opened up my talk with the story that I was so angry at my son. Usually I can see that there's anger, and I play that role, and I'm not sticking to it, really being angry. But that day I was so attached to the idea I want to play PS4 VR later. I had the whole week work, and I was in this position of I need it. I it's my right, and I,
Right.
so I was sticking to that idea that he has to go to bed and behave like a good
Oh
child,
yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
didn't, and he just didn't. He was fucking with me, just like for some reason.
He could tell that
And
you
so I
wanted to
got,
do something.
yes, yeah, but I was really angry then.
Mm.
And where was it getting me? Nowhere. So I was like, the anger sticked in me for 4 hours, and in the end, I was so, up and couldn't sleep that I played PSVR from 2 to 5 in the morning.
Wow, yeah.
Because the whole shit ended up with me having my session and then finding peace through that. But it took me 4 hours where I was so angry, and I couldn't let go of the anger. It's everything makes sense in your mind. You have the right to be angry. And how can he do this? How dare? And all this stuff. And you just can't let go of it. And it's okay. And it's okay, and life finds methods of, like I said, then I played in the end, and I was in peace in the morning. I didn't sleep much, like 1 hour or 2 or so. And when I stood up, I was still in peace. And I said, hey, sorry for yesterday to my son when he stood up the first thing in the morning at 7, I said like, hey, boy, come here. I'm your dad. I'm sorry that I got so much in anger. I'm sorry.
Right. Well,
And it's okay then. It's okay. You just, you take away what you've put on him.
Yeah.
And that's good, So it's balance again. It's balance.
Okay, I want to stop
balance.
talking about psychedelics for a bit, and I just want to ask you about PlayStation VR. Is that pretty cool or what?
It's awesome.
Is it?
It really, you see, the effect is the following. Yeah. If you've maybe a total aficionado for computers and for nice graphics, and you have had a Vive or what was it, as a Oculus Rift on, you put the PlayStation VR on and see, the resolution is not as cool as of those.
Okay, so the graphics aren't as good.
Yeah, so that would be one approach. The other is you never had that stuff on, and you're just overwhelmed by how much it sucks you in. But both of the people can be sucked in without the judgment, the prejudgment, and that's really the beauty. If you have that thing on and you go into the game, and there are some really cool games. Meanwhile, there were some more demo-like stuff, and now there are really coming games who are really taking you in for 5-6 hours. From Crytek, there was this Robinson game where you were in a forest, and it's it's so amazing.
So you put on these things, because I've still never used VR, but I've seen a lot of the PS, and I have a PlayStation 4. But I haven't used it. But so you put them on, but you still use the little joystick and controller to do stuff?
Yeah, it works super good with PlayStation 4 already. But I meanwhile have a PS Pro, yeah?
Oh.
I'm pretty crazy with this shit. And I don't have... No, honestly, I sold my record player and my big record collection and everything. The only two things I have is this computer here, my lap, and my cool mobile from Sony, here, Xperia, blah, blah, with 4K screen,
Yeah.
This is the two penis enhancements I really love, So the third thing is I really love gaming. It's like a childhood thing, I had the best...
Oh, yeah, no, me too,
And I was always selling it too, when it new comes out, I sell the old stuff. So I have the PS Pro and I have the PSVR, and together it's much better. It's even much more cool.
It is very
cool.
With
the PS4, it's already sucking you in.
Yeah.
But the trick is, that you stop putting a boundary between you and that thing. If you just put it on and look around and get sucked into, then the brain thinks you're there.
Right.
It really thinks you're there.
Wow.
And that is magic. That is magic.
Then it's
happening.
incredible, eh?
And you get this stomach stuff when you fall down, or when a zombie attacks you in that project. They're coming from all sides. So you go like this, and sometimes they come from behind, you didn't see them, and you get this shaky overall thing, and that is something really special you don't have when you watch a screen.
That sounds really cool. Very immersive, obviously.
And I guess the system seller will be Resident Evil 7 it is, I guess. The new Resident Evil coming out in January. It is made for PSVR. They put a lot of effort in to precisely design it around PSVR.
I don't know if I'd want to play that on VR. God,
it's still play. Oh man, I played the demo.
It's too scary. Jesus.
And I pissed my pants almost. Yeah, not really. Yeah, but it's so scary.
God, it would be. Yeah.
And it has this Resident Evil scariness. It's not in your face. It's behind your back.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have the headphones. Yeah, really quite good headphones they deliver with the system. And they have this little box where all the VR stuff is coming out. The box does two things. The one thing is it splits the signal, so everyone can watch what you see on the screen.
Right.
Pretty cool. No Vive and no Oculus have this. It's only for. There's a really good idea that you have spectators having the possibility to see what you look, and then the other thing it does is it takes the stereo sound from the PS4, and it creates 3-dimensional sound just with headphones.
Right. Oh, really? Yeah.
So you turn around and the sound moves with you, and that is so much more sucking you in.
Yeah, that would put you right in.
If you don't have the headphones on and then put them on, and the thing is amazing. I've talked. I had another podcast 3 or 4 weeks ago. Shit, I forgot his name. Jesus, it's from something alchemists, natural born alchemists.
Okay.
Yeah. Natural Born Alchemist podcast. A super sweet guy, and he was on a convention, on a congress, and he met Jan Koenen. Do you know Jan Koenen?
No, I don't.
He's the director of Renegade or Blueberry. In America it was Renegade, here it was Blueberry. Have you seen that movie? I bet you've seen this famous ayahuasca visuals. The CGI of the ayahuasca.
Cool.
It's about a psychedelic experience of a white man being with Indians. Yes, there's a Western movie around the ayahuasca, because he didn't want to. He also did documentation other worlds and went into the forest and documented the Shipibo doing their stuff with the ayahuasca. And there are also some visuals in there, but the visuals of Blueberry, many people, you can just Google Blueberry ayahuasca visuals. You will see on YouTube just the visuals. You will also only get the 10-15 minutes visual session. And Jan Koenen is at the moment, that's why I'm telling you that, is he talks to that guy, and he told them that at the moment he is working on a VR version of a Blueberry.
I was just thinking
of an ayahuasca trip.
That would be incredible.
That will be amazing. Yeah,
when they can start doing that, and you can go through tunnels of psychedelic stuff, and
wow, I'm really excited for what he will create, and I know that he's the guy to do this. He's definitely the guy to do this. And I can't wait. He's working on Oculus Rift version. I hope that if they share it with the other platforms, it would be just lovely. There's also something coming out, Google Earth. The Google Earth guys are working on a Google Earth VR experience. I heard that, and
to walk around or something amazing.
Not like walk around, but just fly over the Earth. That's enough already.
Oh yeah, that would be incredible.
Really crazy, and wow. And amazing what they can achieve. And again, going back to, PS4 is really capable of delivering that experience.
Already. That's pretty impressive,
If you can let go of any crazy, I want to be super graphics, blah, blah, expectations, you will be overwhelmed by the graphics. There's so much lightning and cool textures. If you go into Batman, the Batman VR game, many people said, you can't do much as Batman, but what you can do is overwhelming. You just look down and you have your Batman stuff. You can pull your weapons and you can interact with them.
I mean, what's exciting is that this is only at the beginning, it seems like. There's still a long way to go with this stuff. And like you say, Google Earth working on a virtual reality simulator where you can fly over the Earth that it's been mapping. Wow. Google Earth has been mapping everything. So, oh man, that's totally incredible. Imagine
everyone who did the beta, they were saying whoa, and incredible.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
I'm really excited.
It could be used in psychedelic ways too. I've heard that from other people, sort of predicting that maybe you can sort of introduce people to psychedelic experiences through like VR
Through
eventually.
that.
You know?
Yes, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But you won't get the feeling of, you know, it would be
No,
hard
it's
to really do
different
it, but you could at least prepare them.
But honestly, Carl, if you've done VR, really, wow, there is this layer of the brain gets fucked. I mean, the sensors of the brain gets fucked, and you're into it.
Right.
You're in it, and then you know, it's amazing what it does to you on your feeling level if you're really sucked into the experience. It's really
well. That's one of the things that seems like psychedelics do help people with, is just give them like a new perspective all of a sudden, like let them see the world from a brand new perspective. Then like you said, things become sort of new again. Things that were old and habitual become new, and maybe VR can kind of do that, put you in a different world and then shoot you back.
I can tell you, if I have the thing on and it's really comfortable, that's what Zoni was really taking care of, that this thing is comfortable. You can really have a great experience, even if you wear glasses, which makes you, it's so amazing. My brother wears glasses and he has the same beautiful experience because the thing can be really good adjusted. And I mean, the screen is shared. Yeah, you have a full HD, what is it? OLED screen, OLED screen, but it's cut in half, so you don't have full HD on both eyes. So all the others, you know, Oculus and Vive, they have 2 HD screens.
I see.
But it doesn't matter. It creates such a deep experience.
Yeah, already. I would imagine. I've never been personally like a guy. Like I'm definitely been a gamer in my life as well. But I've never been too hung up on the graphic side of things myself. I'm not too worried about that really. Yeah,
it's really. If you would have the possibility to just come over here, I mean, how many 1,000 kilometers?
A little
but
far.
I would love to introduce you. I introduced some friends and they're all overwhelmed.
Oh yeah, I'd love to try it one day. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, it's really, if you look around for a friend or so who has it.
Yeah.
And in the end, you know, they are selling these things used now because many people get sick or don't get into the which is really, I never had any sickness stuff.
Yeah,
it's
people
really,
prone to motion sickness would probably.
Yeah, but it's also when you have the preconception, I might get sick. Hey, guess what you're getting?
You're probably gonna get sick.
We're going back to the energies thing.
Yeah.
We are believing so much stuff. Yeah, and I had a broken middle bone on my foot. Yeah, so this toe, the second, and here this thing inside, middle bone, it was broken. I swear it was broken. It wasn't just like hurt. I could feel that it was broken. So I knew if I go to the doctor, they put a food stuff, you know, like gypsum stuff on me, and like what they have these days, not gypsum, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, some type of cast thing.
So I would definitely not be able to do my shit here. So I was taking care of that feet by layering it more and by, you know, just giving it a little peace more and stuff. So 4 weeks, it's healed. I can use it the same way before. It still hurts a little if I overbend it, but it's just 4 weeks only. But it healed itself. If I would have started to think, I need to go to the doctor, I need to go, hey, he has to heal it, and you know, if I would have created a drama out of it, my body would have been able to just heal it. So I let it just heal by my body by itself. So I mean, you know, it works.
I imagine there are, like, I know there are times when you have to go to a doctor. I know there are, but for me personally, my experience has been that, like, every time I've gone to the doctor in the last 10 years, they haven't been able to help me at all.
No,
and I've gone with different things.
Give you some painkillers.
Yeah, that's it. Or like maybe take some ibuprofen for inflammation and take some Tylenol for pain, and it's just they haven't been able. I mean, that's just because of the nature of what I've had going on has been mostly just like sports injuries or just things that heal on their own and things. But I do find probably you could say that our society puts too much of an emphasis on like physical medicinal healing from doctors, and whereas it's not where we should be looking for a lot of the stuff people deal with these days, for sure.
Yeah, and where I was coming from is just it's overall. That is one thing, but we believe so many stuff. I believe I am allergic to this and that. I believe there's this guy. I have him on my homepage. A doctor, a little bigger, big beard. A doctor who talks about entheogens, but also talks about oh shit. Weil, the Weil guy. How he's called,
I don't know.
Andrew Weil or so? I don't know.
Okay.
I forgot the first name, but Whale, yeah. There's even a mushroom called Psilocybe whaley, yeah. So no, honestly, I have grown it, yeah. Pretty cool mushroom. It's called by him, yeah. They named it because of him. I guess it's Andrew Weil, yeah. So this guy, he talks about that he was allergic towards the sun or so. He always had to cover himself with sun stuff, and his mother was never letting him out without, and all the drama. Yeah. So one day he took acid and he forgot to do the sun stuff, and he was lying in the sun and it had nothing. Yeah. And since that day, he never had anything anymore.
Right.
Because later he realized, hey, I didn't have anything. So he let go of the belief he has.
Yeah, it was a belief system. It was a mental thing that was perpetuating.
It's really, we can believe a lot. We can put a lot of boundaries on our energetic being. And that is the same what I talked about towards other human beings. If you put something on it, a boundary, not so the connection is lost. Yeah?
Right.
If you put something between the one and the other person, the connection is lost. And the connection between us human beings is the main thing, the most important thing, which is happening if you meet. We are all two, but when we get together, there's this one creation, So it's really, other people are a powerful tool to get into the moment, to get one with everything.
You must have heard of Paul Stamets, right? Mushroom
sure.
guy. Yeah. If you're growing
Paul.
mushrooms at all, he'd be the guy to look up. But he
sure.
told that amazing story on some talk I saw a while ago. When he was a kid, he would stutter. He had a really horrible stuttering problem. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
He tells a great story. I would definitely suggest people look that up, because he talked about, he always stuttered. He could talk to animals and he wouldn't stutter, but when he would talk to people, he would stutter. And he had his first mushroom experience, psilocybin, and took a really large dose, it sounded like, and then cured his stuttering the day after that, and never stuttered again. Except he would say he would stutter once in a while if he met someone like famous or someone that he looked up to and was nervous around. But otherwise would never stutter. And it was obviously something going on in his head. And people have also talked about psilocybin actually like recreating neural pathways and neurogenesis and regrowth of brains, like very physical things as well, which could be just like a sort of side effect of some other things going on.
But it's just the tool to do so. You could achieve that by your own.
Possibly.
But you see, we talked about it. Sacraments, of psychedelics,
they're so powerful,
and entheogens are very powerful. Yes. Especially if you don't play around with them. If you go deep, if you go for real, if you like, Kalindi or My Way with less mushrooms and MAOI. It's really giving you some, or take, azarescens. I don't know if you know the psilocybe azarescens, the most powerful mushroom ever. So it has double the potency of the average most potent mushroom. So there's almost 20 milligrams of psilocybin per gram. So 3 grams of them. No Maui needed. 3 grams of azarescens.
Right.
And
that's something that Kalindi talks about too, that he emphasizes a lot, is like, you can do yoga, you can go into a sensory deprivation tank, you can do all this other stuff, and you might get close, but really these are the best tools for the job. Like, you might as well just use a chainsaw instead of a handsaw if you have it. We're like, what are you doing messing around? And I think I'm more and more in that sense too, where I just think these are such powerful tools. you know, like maybe you can get there through meditation, but I don't, you know,
Yeah.
and meditation can be useful at times, but really it doesn't come close in my experience. And I'm
Yeah.
not an expert in meditation, but from all my
Me
dabblings,
neither.
psilocybin it's really the best tool for the job for a lot
Yeah.
of this stuff. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
getting around it.
Yeah. No, no, really, it's the most powerful tool. And the beauty of it is that it works so long. Yeah,
You have
I
that
mean,
time, yeah.
it's LSD is 12 hours, and honestly, you know, I have so much enough after 8 hours on LSD already, and I get so crazy about the last 5 or 4. Yeah, it's so sweet that mushrooms have this 6, 7. Yeah,
Mhm.
or with Maui a little longer. Yeah, it's 1 or 2 hours longer with Maui, but in the end, it's really a compact, long enough, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
too long, and very, very, you know, and it's so sweet how it goes like
Yeah,
this.
that's what I was gonna
Just
say
like,
too. Is it's not like you're peaking for all 8 hours. It's like no, you start out slow
yeah,
and then
it's like a
you go
wave,
down.
you
Yeah.
know? It's a wave.
Yeah, it
And
is.
that
Yeah.
is so natural, feels so natural. And if you do a smoked thing, baff, choo, and where, you know,
Yeah, it's
so
true.
so and I, you know, I would really, if I have one wish, yeah, for the weekends to not have a Friday 5 Mio session anymore. Yeah, if people want to have 5 Mio and they experience like lots of experiences and need to do the top of the peak and
Mm.
want to do this 5 Mio one time thing, and okay, then they should come to me and we do it privately and one on one, so I can ask them, hey, are you having any stuff in your past which might get difficult when you get this stuff here? Yeah,
Yeah.
but on a weekend it's hard.
With that
But
many people, it's
I
not worth doing it. Eh?
yeah, I can't at the moment, you know, honestly. Yeah, another thing maybe in the back somewhere is I wanted to talk with you to get some advertisements again. Yeah,
Mhm.
honestly, because I'm at the moment people are not signing up much, and I'm thinking of doing it only twice, only 2 months. Yeah, every two
Oh,
months
I see.
again.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's
yeah,
now
maybe
every
we can
month like last
we
year.
could wrap it up, and you
Yeah.
can let people know how to check your stuff, what you're up to, and how to get a hold of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said it last time, it's psilohuasca.com. We haven't trademarked it, but Psilohuasca is the name. It's psilohuasca.com. It's like ayahuasca, but with the psilo from the psilocybin in the front. And there you can have a look at how I describe a little bit about mushrooms and how we do the weekends, and yeah, and there's a toad side also, and one side and stuff like that. But really, if you sign up, be prepared. It's a really strong sacrament, and we create a very safe container around it. But you got to be honest when you come to us. You got to say, "Hey, I'm coming from this and that background." It's really important for your own sake. Yeah, for your own sake. If you, we have had people not telling us stuff, and in the end, they got really difficulties,
Mm.
and you know, we had to take care of them with a lot of additional energy,
Mm.
which is exhausting on our side, which is pulling away energy from the rest of the group.
Right.
So
So
it's,
now,
you know,
what size are you looking at? Like in your next few groups, what do you think? How big? I mean,
yeah,
it depends how many people sign up, obviously, but
yeah, I still, the thing is, I still have half of February free. I still have none for March. I still have only 2 people for April. That's oldies, that's returners, yeah, who have
mm.
been with us 2 times. So when February comes, yeah, and I can see more into it, I will book May and additional,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So May, June, July, and so on. And I will see in February how it is. I mean, it's crazy. For 3.5 years, we were always booked up,
Mm.
booked out 3 months ahead. Always 3 months ahead. So
Wow.
no chance to come to us directly. Um, but now it's this situation. Maybe, and I heard from other people they have difficulties to get people signing up for ayahuasca. Maybe it's just a come down of
Yeah,
the
it
you know
was. It
hype.
did get
Yeah,
very popular there for like the last few
yeah.
years. Yeah, it's true.
Maybe it's overall there. Maybe it's the winter. I don't know.
Maybe it's
So
because
what I was
marijuana is becoming legal and people are using that more.
yeah, sure. I mean, I don't want to push anyone into having it. I would love to serve them. I would love to give them the opportunity to have a very deep experience with a very experienced caretaker who doesn't take the sacrament himself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I deliver. And I deliver these lovely houses. So the container is perfect. The setting is perfect. Best setting is always at home.
Right. And
Yeah.
obviously
So I believe,
you're in Europe as well. So people who listen
yeah,
to this in like Canada or the US, they'd have to
yeah, it's difficult.
make a flight
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, some people come from Australia actually because they make a trip in Europe and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we in the trip
It's a
they
little
come to us.
closer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting that it's always Australians who do this. I rarely have Americans on a trip in Europe coming and then signing up. It's we had 4 times already Australian people who were on a Europe trip and then signing up in that time
Right.
for. And one of them, Paul, he came for 2 sessions and he now lives in Den Haag.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
He's not going back to Australia
Nice.
because he loves Europe so much and Netherlands so much. Yeah. So, whatever. What I wanted to say is just, in the future from May on, I definitely want to go for 10 only, and we have to see how it works because we have to to increase the amount of donation, the minimum amount of donation. But I just heard from other people that the ayahuasca sessions are meanwhile at the same area I would be talking about. I don't talk about numbers openly, and
Right.
it's donations is a free thing, so they give something fair back. They think so many people don't know what is a fair amount, so I say this is that would be a minimum.
Right.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
it's
Yeah.
not that I ask a fee or anything. It's really important that people understand that. And also we have a box where they put it in. I don't take money on my person. Yeah, we have a box. They put it in, and there it goes, and it's free, and no one tricks. Yeah, we always have more than asked for because donation. Yeah, never tricks. Someone never tricks himself out of that and gives less or so. But you have these people, yeah, who make it like I can have 2 sessions in one. Yeah, like really, I'm keen to do both of them, and luckily I can have 2 of them.
I see.
But it's really if you want to go for real with the toad, it's not the place. I took off the site and the sessions now. I took off the secretion. Yeah.
Right.
So there in the future from January, I promised. Yeah. But from February on, there will be no more toad secretion on the weekends. If you want to have the real natural product, you gotta come for a one-on-one. Because I don't milk my toads to death,
Right.
So they really gotta be okay with it. And when I see they give less, I mean, I had 3 months break and still they gave a half a gram less. I only had 1 gram out of 8 toads, yeah.
I see.
And so I could milk them a second time, but I'm not.
And
They are
obviously,
so crazy.
if anyone doesn't know, the toad is what secretes the 5-MeO DMT you're using.
In their natural venom, or I call it secretion, because they have it not only in the part they spit kind of into opponents. They also have all the secretion around their body to wet themselves.
Oh yeah.
So the secretion is an overall thing they create, and in that secretion, because of the enzyme. And not, it's not like the toad secretion gets through the fire into 5-MeO. That's totally crap. There are people who are saying that. So the toad has an enzyme which methoxylizes the bufotenin. Yeah, bufotenin is in every toad, or almost every. Yeah, and the 5-MeO enzyme, the methoxy enzyme, the toad creates then the 5-methoxy DMT out of the bufotenin. And that's unique for Bufo alvarius. That's only with the Colorado toads. But still, these toads, at first it's like making love to them. If you squeeze them, you really be gentle. And if you do it, they're kind of stressed like it.
Yeah.
Luckily, my toads don't pee anymore. Yeah, in the beginning they were so scared they peed on me.
Oh yeah.
Like spitting. but they don't do it anymore. They're really cool
And
with
you
it,
want
and I
to, so
kiss them, and I
you're trying to encourage people to, if they want that experience, that 5-MeO, which has been
with the
popularized
toad,
as this high dose.
yeah,
Talk to you about a
yeah,
one-on-one thing. Don't come to you expecting to do
yeah,
5-MeO in a group
yeah.
of 10 people anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we give 5-MeO synthetic, and it's also I convert it into the base because it's HCl, it's hydrochloride. You know, when you buy it, and there's no one you can buy it anymore. We have a very secret store where we got it recently and already sold out again. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's totally banned in China. So not China can't produce it anymore. So there were leftover stocks being sold here and there, and now it's close to be totally vanished. Yeah. So the hydrochloride you have to convert into the free base, but when you convert it, it's 100% pure. You can get away of impurities that way too. So it's very pure stuff, and you can really, it's like 10 milligrams can get people into severe trouble if they resist it. On the other hand, 10 milligram can get people, if they totally give up in a meditative state, can get them to a non-dual state. So it's a very powerful sacrament, but it depends on your state of mind, on your position towards it, if you release or defend it and go crazy. So if I give 15 to someone who goes crazy, it takes much longer for him to come down. And it's much more struggle for him to come down if I give only 10. So that's why we decrease the dose.
Well,
for
yeah,
weekends.
what I like hearing you talking about that is like, obviously you're someone who knows these doses very well. You know these things that you're working with quite well. You know how they affect people and all the little intricacies and little changes of dosing or adding things here and there. It seems like you really know your stuff. Like, I don't know all of the chemistry of all these things, but you seem to know quite a bit of it. And, you know, I think that's great for someone, you know, if someone looking to try these things, it would be great to have someone so knowledgeable to help them through. So, yeah.
I personally think it's part of the whole thing that you know what you're doing, you know, and with what tools you use, you know.
Yeah.
If you have a mechanic, you know, he also knows which tool does what to the car. Otherwise, he fixes the car, and in the end, it's still broken, you know, because he just fixed the surface. It's the same like with Western medicine. We fix the surface, but internally the reason for the imbalance of the energy in you is still there, and you can grow them into cancer or bad things in the end. Like, you know, many strong diseases, you know, are built up over time. Yeah, I mean, if you remember back, you had a little itch here and there, and that itch grew into something really severe.
Yeah, it's true.
And because you keep that energy stuck, because you always cure the surface only. You know, there's no, you don't go into you know, looking behind what created it in the first place. I mean, my kids, you know, just like every other kids, they had like warts. You know, warts.
Yeah.
And we were approaching that like, hey, don't give it too much attention. It will vanish. Yeah. If you go to a doctor with a wart, what does he do?
Burns it or
cut it. Yeah, burns it, freezes it, or cuts it away. Yeah. So guess what? Yeah. I mean, what it creates is screw. Yeah, you got scarves over. Yeah. So did you know what I know? What I did what we did with the kids? We just ignored them. We just took them as naturally there. And they don't have any anymore. All gone.
Is that right? Yeah.
No warts, no scars, no nothing. It was just there. Yeah. You know, it's like life does it to test you. If you go crazy about it, or if you just accept it as a part of your body. That's the thing with also looking, like how many people are not happy with their looks. Yeah. They are intense psychic stuff created about looks. There are diseases created about how people look, and like bulimia and worse and worse and worse and worse. And like, you know, or washing your hands like crazy. That's all stuff, you know, where you can, you know, you're putting too much energy into something. And that's the whole trick, you know. If you have something in you and it bugs you, and you feed it with, you know, it's like a plant, a little plant. Like you have you have like a dandelion, yeah, a dandelion in your garden,
Yeah.
and dandelions are not wanted, yeah, they are,
Yeah.
yeah,
I have
all
lots of
over,
them.
yeah. So, but they're beautiful. They're super beautiful, and if you accept them as there, it's all okay. And but if you put energy, like see the dandelion inside, you put energy, you grow them, and you grow, you feed them with water, and you take care of them by giving them attention. You know, oh, I don't want this. You know, you're giving it attention. You're just feeding it with energy because you're giving it attention. And it grows. It can't but grow. If you're giving it energy, it's automatically,
Right. I see
it
what you mean.
grows in you. It grows in you. And then you have a severe problem with it, and you gotta get rid of it, and it's all
It's like with
dramatic
looks.
stuff.
Like I used to definitely be someone concerned with my looks when I was when I was a teenager in high school. I had
Yeah.
bad acne on my face, and I was very
Oh,
insecure about
yeah.
how I looked. And I was really obsessed for a while. I felt like I was always the ugliest person in the room. And I realized now, I think a lot of being a lot of that sort of attraction that is like confidence. It really comes on. So when you just I got to a point where I said, fuck, I don't care anymore. This is what I look like. I just fucking look like this. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then it was for like, then that gave me more confidence to leave that behind, really. And then that made me more attractive, I think, by being confident. So it was like that real, that whole circle.
And you have, and going back and maybe finalizing this, this is a long talk already when I look at the watch.
Yeah.
But maybe finalizing, this is what you have in a mushroom trip, just intensified and compact in a 6-7 hours experience. When many people go into mushrooms and can't let go of something, and then they, just like you, at the point where you accepted it, and that is, everything in life is a mushroom experience, a long one,
Yeah.
If you look like that, it's just a mushroom experience. You just are stuck in the idea that you need to, or you must to, or you have to, whatever, It doesn't matter if it's your thoughts putting you into that, or your parents' thoughts putting you into that, or your boss thoughts putting you there. It's just, you're giving it attention, you're feeding it, and you're taking care of it. I mean, it's just so funny because we want to have it away, but still we feed and feed and feed with all the attention we're giving it. All the attention we are putting inside it is energy we're putting inside. And it sits here, and we're putting it aside, and putting it aside, and putting it aside. And then we get a heart attack, or, like pain in here, or pain in the stomach, or pain in the head, or in the back, or, everyone has these little spots where it gets, creepy, In my case, it's the stomach. And when I feel like, ooh, I know exactly, too much food for
And you're saying let it go, learn to let it go, try to let it go, start letting these thoughts go, and it'll lead to.
I really, to finish it up, I mean, I cutted my hair, I look more like the guru,
Yeah.
But honestly, I have the same crap running, just like you, just like everyone else. But what changes, and we had that, look behind, you are not 40 hours or 50 hours depressed, you're 40 hours, or 10 days or 40, it's just less.
Yeah.
And that is the change. It's gone. I want to have it gone, and it's still there. Crap, I need to heal more. It's just less.
Yeah.
And you see that you learn to let go, that you learn to not put so much energy in it, and this and that is the secret, and that is here every time around us. There is no need to take anything or to go anywhere it's no need. You can have it every single moment, and
I like
winter is a super teacher what that is, Oh.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
man, we're going so crazy, and Christmas and everything. It's we're celebrating love, but hey, such faces on Christmas.
Yeah,
Eve.
well, we're celebrating love, but you got to buy a whole bunch of stuff in order to do so.
yes.
Yeah, right on.
Okay,
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for talking to me again, Ollie. It's been a pleasure, really.
Man,
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Carl, I so admire you. This is so beautiful to just share space with you. It's so great, really.